Welcome to Volcanoes, Part 4. Today we are going to start by turning to page 11, and we're going to take care of our highlighting questions and summary. So grab a highlighter, and there's lots to highlight on this page, so make sure you get all of those vocabulary words. And as you move on to your questions, please make sure that you're writing 3 different types of questions, or in other words, 3 different question starters. And finally, when you are ready for your summary, you can choose the type of summary you'd like to do from the toolkit. Whatever kind you choose, please highlight the keywords in your summary, even if the instructions on the toolkit don't tell you to do that. Do it anyway. Any keywords from this page, please do them in your summary highlight them in your summary. All right, when you are done with page 11, pause the video and come up for a stamp for pages 10 and 11. Let's turn to your score sheet now, and please add assignment number 9. We're going to finally wrap up this page on page 14. So once you've written on your score sheet, please turn to page 14. We're going to use that final spot on page 14, so the number 4 spot. And in this place, will you please copy this question? Was Pompeii the worst volcanic disaster ever? So you're going to be watching a short video that talks a little bit about this and some of the history with this. And then after the video, you will be doing a quick write response to this question. So that's what you'll be asked to do at the end. So be prepared for that, and here is the video.
Most people think they know all about the most famous volcanic disaster ever, but the factual story is even more incredible than the fiction. Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in to D News Today. I am Trace. This August 24th is the 1936th anniversary of the violent erasure of Pompeii from the shores of the Tyrrhenian Sea. I've been to Pompeii, it's beautiful, but it's also surprisingly expansive. The city of Pompeii is 3 square kilometers, and excavation has been ongoing since it was rediscovered in 1748. As archaeology continues, modern scientific techniques are teaching us more and more about that infamous day. Around lunchtime on August 24th, 79 CE, Mount Vesuvius exploded. Eyewitness Pliny the Younger, whose grandfather Pliny the Elder was a military officer stationed in the region, wrote, "A cloud of unusual size and appearance shot into the air from Vesuvius, reminding him of an umbrella pine tree. At its height on that day, Vesuvius's column reached 27 miles into the air before branching out and raining ash and pumice stones on the 2,000 Pompeians who hadn't already fled the city." We know this because Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger were eyewitnesses. The eruption caught people by surprise, many fleeing the city after the initial explosion, but before the city was completely buried by ash. But from surviving records, we know that there were signs something bad was coming. Fish were floating dead in the rivers leading up to the explosion, wells were drying up, and the vines on the slopes of Vesuvius inexplicably dried up. Not to mention increasingly violent and regular earthquakes were hitting the region. Today, we know that before volcanoes erupt, they swell slightly as the pressurized magma bulb rises up through the earth like a massive zit. Eventually, the mountain can begin to leak noxious gases, which might have contributed to the death of the plants. Measurements before the eruption of Pu'u'o'o on Kilauea in 1983 found 150 tons of sulfur dioxide was being released from the mountain every day. People who fled Pompeii on August 24th would have escaped the coming disaster. But just after midnight on August 25th, between 3 and 6 massive, superheated pyroclastic surges, which are like avalanches, but of rock, dust, and volcanic gas, and they travel at like 100 kilometers per hour, slammed into Pompeii, burying the city and the people who remained in volcanic dust for many hundreds of years. Looking at the distribution and type of debris in the ash layers, scientists estimated the velocity and power of the 79 CE explosion of Vesuvius at 165,000 tons of debris per second, with 84 rocks per square yard per minute raining down on the cities and temperatures reaching 482 Fahrenheit. A 2013 study in Nature Communications found a mass extinction event in the lower Cretaceous caused by a volcano resulted in exceptional fossil preservation. And Pompeii plays out something similar. If volcanic ash gets wet, it hardens like cement, preserving anything that's trapped inside it. Over time, the clothing and soft tissues of the Pompeians that were trapped in the ash decayed, and their dry, fragile bones and jewelry survived to be found today. Some of the most famous artifacts from Pompeii aren't the superb frescoes, houses, and even bread that is in the ovens of the bakeries, but the casts of the Pompeians themselves that we've today made. In 1777, excavators discovered an air pocket in the ash that was in the shape of a body. And in 1864, almost 100 years later, the director of excavations found a special mix of plaster of Paris, which could be poured into that cavity to mold out a body, revealing the heartbreaking detail of the last moments of these people. The wrong mixture of plaster can damage the delicate remains, so of the 1,150 bodies found so far, only about 100 have been cast into plaster. Today, Pompeii is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and is now feeling the pains of exposure to pollution, light, weathering, and water damage. After heavy rains not long ago, some of the buildings in the city collapsed, prompting new calls for preservation of this historic site. Even after preservation in volcanic ash for over 1,600 years, we could be losing Pompeii to the elements. Today, Vesuvius is the only active volcano on the European continent, and 700,000 people live in the death zones immediately surrounding the mountain. Ironically, they're drawn there because the ash and lava flows emitted by volcanoes create some of the most fertile soil on Earth. After a volcano erupts, the rock fragment particles ejected are called tephra, and over time, tephra breaks down thanks to chemical interactions from the atmosphere, resulting in that super rich soil.
All right, sorry for the choppiness of that video. It's just not streaming very smoothly, but I think you get the idea. What you're going to do now in box number 4 is you're going to do a quick write. And remember that a quick write is you're just trying to write the whole time to respond to this question. Thinking about what you saw in the video and maybe drawing on information from there and things that you're learning about volcanoes. So the idea is to not worry about your writing being perfect, but to try to keep writing for that full 2 minutes, and in that 2 minutes form a response to this question. All right, I'll set a timer so you can keep yourself moving. Go ahead. So wrap up your thoughts there. If you still need a second to finish your sentence, go ahead and do that. But at this point, pause the video and come up for a stamp for page 14. All right. Please turn back to your score sheet and now you're going to add assignment number 10. And this is for the volcano video sheet that we stapled to the back of your packet. So get that filled in. And as you finish, go ahead and turn to page 19. You should have a question sheet for a specific volcano. And when you're done watching these instructions, the links for the videos are found on my website. So if you go there, they're there by name of volcano. Click on them. And this video is actually about 45 minutes long. So when you get there, you're not going to finish it today. So whenever class is over today and you need to stop where you're at, make sure you record the place where you stopped in the video on your question sheet, like the number on the counter at the bottom, so that you make sure you know where to pick up tomorrow and you don't have to be searching for that. As you finish this video at the very end, when you're totally done, then come up for a stamp for page 19.